What made headlines in 2023? Catch the real impact of the year's top stories. Watch the 2023 year-end specials only on the Business Standard Morning Show from 22nd to 29th December.
Hello and welcome to the Business Standard Morning Show. I'm Kanishka Gupta. It's the 25th of December 2023 and here are the questions we will be answering today. Will 2024 be the year of EVs? What led to the rise of stock markets in 2023? Is the Santa rally over in the markets? And what is Blue Origin? India never had so many vehicles with green number plates on its roads. Registration of electric vehicles crossed the 1 million mark in 2023. From 0.67% in 2020, the share of EVs in total vehicles sold rose to 6% this year. And Tata Motors last week said that the electric passenger cars segment is expected to grow at 30 to 40% in 2024. In today's first segment, Tariq Ahmed and Ayush Mishra find out what the road ahead looks like for EVs. Will 2024 be the year of EVs?
Electric cars in India are expected to see a 30 to 40% increase in volume sales in 2024. That's the growth projection of EVs by Shailesh Chandra, MD of Passenger and Electric Vehicle Division of Tata Motors, considering that demand remains strong. Speaking at an event last week, Chandra said more electric vehicles in the price range of 8 to 30 lakh rupees are set to launch. An increase in charging points will be catalyzing this growth. Tata Motors commands the largest share in India's EV sector. The company also leads the battery electric vehicle or BEV segment in India currently. 48,000 units of light electric passenger vehicles, mostly cars, were sold in India in the first half of 2023, and 34,000 out of them from Tata Motors. That makes the market share of Tata Motors in the electric passenger vehicle segment 72%. Tata expects its EV four-wheeler sales to reach 25% of its total passenger vehicles portfolio by 2025-2026 and 50% by 2030. To making EV charging accessible, Bharat Petroleum and Tata Passenger Electric Mobility has recently collaborated to set up 7,000 chargers across the country. The government's proposed FAME3 scheme could also focus on including benefits for setting up EV charging ecosystem and its maintenance. According to the automotive business intelligence company JATO Dynamics, nearly 75,000 EV passenger vehicles were sold in India in the first 9 months of 2023. While this constitutes only 2.4% of the total passenger sales during the period, the figure indicates a rise in sales volume compared to the previous year. In 2022, sales of EV passenger vehicles reached approximately 49,000, a notable increase from the 15,000 units sold in 2021. The growing penetration of EVs is evident from the rising sales of passenger vehicles. So, will 2024 be the year of EVs?
You'll see some very good growth numbers in EVs in 2024. And therefore, you could kind of term it as the year of the EVs. You could also see a lot of new models coming out in the EV space by some new companies, and that may challenge some of the incumbents in the space. So again, you can call it the year of the EVs, but you will see many more variants and a lot more activity in this space.
Experts points to a growing optimism around electric passenger vehicles in India. The introduction of new car models will also expand the options available to EV customers, thereby further boosting sales.
A lot of OEMs are coming up, with electric models across the segments. So it may be mini segment. We will have Tata Punch, going in the next year. It may be subcompact SUVs, compact SUVs. We may have products from Maruti Suzuki. We may have products from Hyundai, Creta electric vehicle, right? And then, obviously in premium. So I think across the segments, we will have electric vehicles. So most of them, though, would be SUVs. But I think this itself will act as a catalyst, and obviously will fuel the automotive electric vehicle sales in India.
Over 2 crore vehicles have been registered in India in 2023. Among these, about 15 lakh were EVs, constituting 6.3% of the total vehicles registered this year. This was 4.8% last year and 1.8% in 2021. While the government is now considering termination of FAME subsidy for electric two-wheelers, the EV industry is hopeful that the FAME 3 scheme will continue focus on supporting SMEs as well as reduction on import dependence for EV components. However, several factors continue to hinder customers from opting for electric vehicles, including limited battery life, inadequate charging infrastructure, and a higher ticket price, among others.
The trends that have been impacting the EV sales, it differs in segments. The range anxiety, which a lot of people had in different segments, has also been eliminated. Similarly, and you have many more products going in. Yes, there is a question of the FAME subsidy continuing and challenges there, but that's a separate issue. In the three-wheelers, again, in the total cost of ownership and the penetration in the three-wheeler segment in terms of percentage is actually the highest. In four-wheelers, you are seeing at the entry level, mid-level, and the high end. High end, actually, if you look at the high end variants, the growth rate is actually exponential. And a lot of people who can afford those types of cars are showing a preference for electric vehicles there. Also, charging infrastructure is improving, and battery swapping options for the two and three-wheeler segment are improving. And if the battery swapping option could be accelerated by government, then it could actually impact and positively impact the growth of the two-wheeler and three-wheeler segment.
The sales of electric goods carriers and buses remained low till August 2023 compared to other segments. Vahan data shows 1,873 electric goods carriers and 1,192 electric buses were sold in India during the same period. However, the outlook for EV growth remains promising in 2024. The trajectory for EV sales in the country will depend on the future of the FAME scheme that will act as a key determinant of its growth.
Financial markets too had a good run this year. If someone had told you the Sensex would rise over 10,000 points in a year, would you have believed it? But this miraculous milestone was indeed achieved in 2023 despite the various challenges that markets faced. Taking ahead our year-ender CDs, Nikita Vashisht and Rex Cano dig deep to find out the factors that led to the massive rise of stock markets in 2023.
If there was one word that can describe Indian equity markets in 2023, it would be resilience. In fact, this resilience helped markets achieve various milestones this year, despite the numerous challenges it faced due to a wobbly global economy. For the record, the S&P BSE Sensex scaled a new summit for the 11th straight year as it topped the 70,000 mark for the first time and marched ahead to hit a high of 71,913. With this, the BSE benchmark has recorded an annual net gain of 10,000 points. The Nifty, on the other hand, surpassed the 21,000 mark, hitting a lifetime high of 21,593 during the year. The rally, however, was not a one-way street. At the beginning of the year, the markets took a sharp knock in the aftermath of the Adani Hindenburg saga. That apart, the collapse of US-based regional banks, rising interest rates, and geopolitical tensions added to the concerns. By the end of March, the Sensex was down 3% for the year and the Nifty 4.1%. The BSE Mid-Cap Index, meanwhile, was down almost 5% and the Small Cap 7%. Sectorally, the BSE Power Index plunged almost 25%, while the oil and gas and realty indices fell over 10% each. It was in April when the RBI-led Monetary Policy Committee paused its rate hike cycle for the first time since May 2022, triggering a sharp turnaround in the beaten-down equities. The pause in rate hikes raised hopes of a corporate re-leveraging cycle supported by the Union Budget's continuous infra push.
India's robust economic growth, has outperformed the projections. The government reforms like the Make in India initiatives, as well as the big push on the infrastructure sector during the budget, ended up being positive. The capex cycle has started, and the positive corporate earnings also played a very strong role.
Evidently, the Sensex and Nifty bounced back by surging 20.5% and 23% since April and have gained up to 18% year to date. The mid-cap and small-cap indices, meanwhile, have surged up to 54% since April and have jumped over 40% so far this year. Sectorally, the realty index has zoomed over 94%, followed by a near 73% and 58% rally in power and capital goods indices from March end. Another factor that helped the market recovery in 2023 was the strong comeback of foreign investors. Alongside the halt in rate hikes and an easing inflation trajectory, FPIs that remained net sellers for the previous year took to fresh buying this year with only a few months of withdrawing cash. That apart, a year-end rally in the US has further helped the market bulls in the latter half of 2023. This came as the US long-term bond yield that surged to a 16-year high of 5% is now on a downtrend, given the Federal Reserve's much-needed policy pivot earlier this month and a forecast of at least 3 rate cuts in 2024. This, analysts say, is further expected to keep the foreign inflows in Indian equities steady.
At the beginning of this year, it was widely expected that the US economy will tip into recession, but the year is going to end with 2.4% impressive growth by the US economy. In recent months, the decline in US bond yields also have helped in the rally in emerging markets like India.
Overall, 2023 was the testament of resilience and the growth potential of the Indian markets. Going ahead, analysts say investors remain cautiously optimistic on the markets in 2024 given election-related volatility in the near term.
Staying with the financial markets theme, investors took home some gains last week as they decided to book profit in the markets post the Sensex and Nifty indices 13% surge in the past 7 weeks. In fact, the indices are up 6% so far in December. So what should be your trading strategy at this juncture? Rex Scanner shares what experts recommend in our next segment. As anticipated at the start of this month, the markets have been witnessing the so-called Santa rally thus far in December. Equity benchmark indices have logged gains in excess of 6% till 22nd December and are on course to record their second best December month rally in the last 10 years. The upswing was anchored by massive inflows by foreign institutional investors who have pumped in roughly 58,600 crore rupees thus far this month, marking their biggest monthly inflow since December 2020. That said, the markets snapped their 7-week rally last week as concern about the rise in COVID cases and elevated valuations in mid and small cap stocks weighed on the sentiment. The S&P BSE Sensex ended with a loss of 377 points at 71,107, while the Nifty 50 settled at 21,349. Among the broader indices, the BSE Mid-Cap Index shed 0.9%, while the small cap slipped 0.2%. So, is this the first sign of exhaustion for the Santa rally?
Investors going forward are advised to invest in tranches because you have to be prepared that volatility is going to be there in the markets in 2024. So either through mutual funds or ETFs or stock SIPs, having a long-term perspective, at least 3 to 5 years horizon, if you have an investment horizon, that gives you a better opportunity. So as far as big ticket investments are concerned, they are looking at some opportunities on corrections.
Given this, investors need to watch out the Sensex immediate support level of 70,250. Besides, the index has resistance at 71,750 levels as per technical charts. On the other hand, the Nifty index could face resistance around 21,500 and 21,550 range and seek support around 21,050 and 20,850. This week, trade may remain thin as overseas investors kick off the year-end holiday period. Back home, markets are shut on Monday on account of Christmas.
He's making plans for an early retirement. Business Standard.
Skeptics often ask if markets have run too far too fast, but backed by strong fundamentals and better global outlook, benchmark indices are routinely pulling up surprises. Moving on, one of the world's wealthiest persons, Jeff Bezos, had also pulled up a surprise in 2021 by announcing his resignation as the CEO of Amazon. He had his eyes fixed on space tourism. His company, Blue Origin, successfully launched a rocket on an uncrewed mission last week. Ayush Mishra has more on it.
After cracking the e-commerce riddle, Jeff Bezos has been busy unraveling the mysteries of space travel for over a decade now. The plan to put together a space company, which was later named Blue Origin, had moved from papers to the ground in Texas when Bezos decided to quit as CEO of Amazon in 2021. Aerospace company Blue Origin was established in 2000 in West Texas. Bezos initially tried to keep it under the wraps. Wall Street Journal had reported that Bezos' plan was not known until 2006 when he purchased several parcels of lands in Texas in different names. But all the purchases were tracked back to the same address. The company got 2 rounds of funding from NASA. First funding of $3.7 million came in 2010. Then another round of $22 million came next year, helping Blue Origin take off its projects in a big way. But before the NASA help, the company had launched its New Shepard program, which was named after Alan Shepard, the first American to fly in space in 1961. The aim was to develop a manned suborbital vehicle for tourism and scientific research. New Shepard takes cargo and humans on short trips to the edge of space. Blue Origin recently achieved its 24th New Shepard flight and 13th payload mission on December 19th from Launch Site 1 in West Texas, sealing its presence in the space industry alongside SpaceX and Virgin Atlantic. Before its December 19 mission, it had been grounded since a September 2022 uncrewed mission failed. The company says that it wants to create a future where people live and work in space to benefit Earth. Blue Origin is engaged in the development of some other rocket engines, notably the BE-4 engine intended to propel the New Glenn launch vehicle. The company had launched its first experiments for NASA in 2019 and its first passengers in 2021 that included Bezos and his brother. The second crew, a few months later, included Star Trek actor William Shatner. So far, Blue Origin has taken 31 passengers into space.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.
Before the September 2022 failure, New Shepard rockets had flown 22 consecutive successful missions. Bezos also took a flight on one of such rockets in 2021. Well, that's all for today. For more such news, views and analysis, please log on to business-standard.com.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.